NonProfitConnect brings you how to recruit a board member. One of the most important ways of assuring that you have a successful nonprofit is recruiting knowledgeable, committed, passionate board members. It is the responsibility of the nonprofit board to replenish itself and to bring in new board members. Although it is important to get the executive director or CEO's input, the decision truly is the board's. That makes sense when you consider that the board as a whole oversees the executive director. Hiring your own boss is definitely a conflict of interest. Most boards have term limits, where board members roll off the board after serving their terms. The positive side of term limits is that you're bringing in new perspectives and new energy. The downside is that as an organization, you're constantly on the lookout for new board members, and there is a potential to lose organizational history and to need to create bonds with new board members. Overall, best practice is considered to be using term limits. If you have term limits, you know that you will need new board members every year. So it makes sense to prepare for this proactively by having a process and timeline that you can use every year. If you can let all of the board members in your organization specifically know who you're looking for, you're more likely to find them. For example, if I were to tell you we need 3 new board members versus we need someone who is knowledgeable in accounting, someone who really understands the Trenton community, and someone who has access to corporate resources, which one would lead you to generating a better list of possibilities? Many nonprofits use a board matrix to assess who they currently have on their board and who they need. A board matrix is just a grid with a list of important aspects of a board member on the vertical axis and current board members on the horizontal axis. Every nonprofit needs to determine each year what needs they have based on the strategic direction of the organization, who is currently on the board, and who is stepping off. Some examples of board traits may be demographic. Where do they live? What race, ethnicity do they identify with? What gender do they identify with? Or what age are they? Skill sets: accounting, marketing, legal, human resources, or potential for future board leadership. When you're creating your matrix, think about the future of your nonprofit and what you want to accomplish. Are you purchasing a building? It may be a good idea to have someone with that skill set. Are you trying to engage the Latino community? Who can you bring on your board who can help with those relationships? There are many studies that show that a group of diverse people make better decisions. You want to make sure that you have different perspectives to have the best nonprofit possible. How do you determine where current board members fall on the grid? You should ask them, especially for areas of identity. You may want to have the governance committee assess where they fall in terms of what they contribute to the nonprofit on a larger level. You also may want to think about your future officers. Who's leaving the board and when? Ideally, all of your board members do not socialize with the same people, work at the same companies, or come from the same backgrounds. So how do you recruit someone from outside your usual circle? First of all, ask your board members to look out for people with the requirements the governance committee described, and always to be on the lookout for potential board members. Look in new places. Go up to people at conferences and talk to them about your nonprofit. NonProfitConnect can assist. Come to Board Connect and meet new people who are actively interested in serving on boards. Are there people already involved in your organization? Program graduates who can share their lived experiences, donors, volunteers, or committee members. Actively recruit year-round. It's hard to be patient if you're in an urgent situation. Finally, your governance committee should have a clear plan on what happens once a potential board member is identified. For example, have your executive director or CEO and board chair meet the new person. Invite the potential board member to events, programs, or even committee meetings so they can learn more about you and you about them. Interview, including clarifying expectations of the board, even as specific as when board meetings are held and the minimum amount expected for donations, if any. After checking that there are no concerns with the rest of the board, the governance committee recommends to bring on board members and a vote is taken at the meeting. Usually at this point, unless there is some huge unforeseen issue, the board member joins. Don't forget to onboard your new board member, including educating them specifically about your organization and giving them a buddy to be a resource as they get to be part of your organization. The work of recruiting and developing board members is never done. At any given time, you should be planning for who you will need to carry the organization forward. The more proactive you are, the more likely you have just the right board members onboarded in a way that sets them and you up for success.